Lawin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawin Media Network.
Welcome to Pink Table Talk, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Carly D., a doctorally prepared registered nurse, mentor, professional development specialist, victims advocate, and thriver. Tonight, we are returning with our talk with Nurz Rap, also Deborah Rod. So we started last week where we spoke and we got to know her history and her background and her journey. So tonight we're going to continue that journey and learn more about Nurz Rap and how she has become one of the most influential nurse rappers out here today. So Nurz Rap, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Yes. We had an exciting first episode where we got to learn about your history, your background, where you came from. And so it was so exciting and so inspirational. So tonight we're going to learn more about what you're currently doing, your content creation, your production company, and your music.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, and then at the end, we're going to have a lovely performance from Nurz Rap. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be so exciting. So everybody make sure you stay tuned and watch the whole episode. So Nurz,
yes. Can
Can you tell us what inspired you to get into music and what has inspired your current rap?
Well, first of all, I'm a ICU nurse and I also have other talents as well. I love music. I kind of grew up with music in the household, and I grew up in a very music-like area, East Orange, New Jersey. We have Whitney Houston from there. We have Latifah from there, so many others, Naughty by Nature, the Fugees, and so it's in my blood, I feel like. And so, I basically just married my profession with my skill set as far as a rap artist, and there you go. I continue to dive in, and here I am. I'm still doing it at 56.
That's wonderful, and it's so exciting, and you create such interesting content. What inspired you to have this name, Nurz Rap? Where does that come from?
Okay. Well, that's an interesting question. Well, as you know, I'm a nurse. And I wanted to create something different. So I kind of took off the SE and added the Z, give it a little pizzazz, and put a little edge to it. Again, as a nurse, you see so many things happen in the hospital setting, in the ICU, the ER, and there's just a lot of crime in the world. So I like to fix problems. I love my patients. And I said, you know what? Let me think. I think I want to create some type of character. And so I came up with the name Nurz Rap because Nurz is actually a dark superhero.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So the first album that I released is based on that premise of nurse welcoming you into her setting. Each song represents that process. And so Nurz Rap just seemed fitting to me.
That's awesome. And so tell us, how is this blend between nursing and rap? Are there any similarities? What are the differences?
Well, they're very different worlds. I was kind of concerned, being, the professional me and then the performance me. I know there's a big separation. The two are not intertwined. It's all fictitious. I'm a writer as well. And, that's important. As a professional nurse, it's important to have your white cap on and to do what you're trained and what you're sworn to do. But then, I have like that artistic side, and I keep them totally separate. but I utilize the fact that I am a nurse and I can relate to, what's going on in the world, and I kind of like blended them together and created Nurz Rap as a dark superhero, but they're very separate. I just kind of married them together to create something, something unique. Like you see a horror show or a horror movie or even a horror play, that's fictitious.
Yes.
And people know that that's fictitious.
Yes.
I think one of my challenges is to have, the general public accept the fact that, hey, she's a nurse and she's been doing her thing for over 25 years with excellence, but she's also a rap artist.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Have you ever rapped to any of your patients?
As a matter of fact, that's a great question. Oh, you got the great questions here, I'm telling you. Ironically enough, sometimes people know that you're a rap artist and word gets around.
Yeah.
And I recall one day I was at work and one of the nursing assistants came and got me from somewhere. I think I was on break or something. And she said, hey, Deb, come out here. So I came out and I'm like, what's going on? She said, Ja Rule is here. And I'm like, what? In the hospital? She's like, yeah, I told him about you. I'm like, what? And she's like, I told him all about you and he wants to meet you. So, I'm nervous. I'm in my uniform. I ran upstairs or took the elevator, and lo and behold, he was there.
Wow.
And on the spot, he said, well, I heard you're a nurse, I heard you can rap, and I heard so much about you, let me hear you do something. I'm like, oh my God, like you're really doing this right here in the room? And he's like, yeah, let's go. And his wife was with him at the time. And I just did my shot, and he loved it, and he sent me to Murder Inc., which is Universal Studios in New York. And he was very impressed, and the rest is history from there. So I rapped he wasn't my patient, but I rapped for him. I also had the opportunity as a nurse to meet Dionne Warwick, who I'm a big fan of hers. I actually wrote a song for her. I just love Dionne Warwick, and I had the opportunity to meet her, so I actually met up with her and gave her a song that I wrote for her. And she took it and she listened to it and she thanked me, and that was pretty amazing. Ironically, Queen Latifah is a friend of mine, and her mom was in the hospital, and again somebody came and got me. Oh my God! So I ran up because I was very close to her mom, and I got an opportunity. I didn't rap for her, but I did get some time to spend with her and Dana at the hospital. So rap. I guess you could say it has intertwined a little bit.
Yeah, that's really cool that through your nursing career, you got to meet all these really awesome rap legends. Yes. And you yourself are now rapping and influencing the world. You have a huge following online. So tell us about that.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I just really started about a year ago with my YouTube page. Mm-hmm. I branched off to, Spotify and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, because you have to get out there so people know who you are.
Yes.
And that's pretty much where I got onto the social media aspect. I think my biggest growth is with my YouTube channel, where I'm a content creator. I'm a Nurz Rap, but my show is called The Nurse Prescription Spot. Again, bringing in nursing. It goes with me wherever I go. Nurse forever.
So interesting.
Yeah, and there I'm a content creator, but I try to stick to more positive content. And I just gained a lot of followers from subscribers from the Philippines.
Wow.
And I actually cover a lot of P-pop.
Yeah.
And I just love P-pop. I love it. It's positive music. I love the Filipino culture. And, as a nurse, I got to work with a lot of phenomenal Filipino nurses that, I respect and honor, and they taught me all about the good food.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So, there's a lot of love there. So, I'm growing with my YouTube page. I'm aspiring to get that play button. But it's a lot of work. It's commitment, it's dedication, and I'm all here for it.
That's awesome. That's really amazing. And it's so nice to hear that you have such a global influence. Do you feel that your message that you're sending through your music is inspiring for the next generation, or is your music more geared towards current events? Tell us, what is the inspiration for your music?
Good question. Well, a lot of it is my imagination, to be honest with you. I have an excellent producer. Shout out to the Dynasty. I met an incredible producer when I lived in Washington State. I was a travel nurse out there. And, you know, I feel the divine brought us together, and we just created this project. And he's a phenomenal producer. We bounced our ideas off of each other. And some of it, you know, a lot of it comes from deep down inside. You know, having a creative mind allows me to create all these different scenarios Nurz can be in. You know, it's like, you know, there's no ending to it. There's always something Nurz can do. There's always a crime she can solve. There's always, you know, something negative that she can make positive in her way. But, you know, it's really about what Nurz's agenda is. And, you know, that's primarily to, you know, rid the world of negativity, criminals, things that are bad, that are hurting her patients, hurting society. And so just that topic alone, you can just, you know, just have fun. I think I did a track called the OR of all things. And, you know, I try to have fun with the material and try not to make it so serious. But the OR is really special because, you know, when you go to work as a nurse, you clock in, you clock out, you have your lunch kinda, you know, you have your patients, you go home. And I said, you know, what would Nurz do if there was an OR? And I said, you know what? Forget about it. You know what? The patients are all done. She has the OR to herself. Let's turn up and have a good time, because nurses like to have fun too.
Yes.
So I came up with the idea called the OR that was on the Code Blue album, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. And I love these titles. I love how you intertwine, you know, nursing, your nursing career into your music career, all the while sending a positive message to everybody out there in the world. So I think that's really awesome and amazing.
Thank you. It's really what people take from it. You know, you have, you know, nurses by nature, we're very serious because our job is serious.
Yes.
And, you know, there's a fine line between professional and non-professional. But for those younger people who tend to connect with me a lot more, you know, they can appreciate it. You know, nurses are scared, they give you big needles. But, you know, Nurz Rap is fun. She got a cape and she wears a mask.
Does she have needles?
Yeah, I do. Actually, you know what? I do have needles. If you look at the Nurz prescription spot, when I judge or critique or react to music videos, I use a syringe, and then depending on how many stabs you get, that's how good your music video is.
Oh, okay. So these are good stabs.
These are good stabs. You want the stabs.
Oh, that's really fun. That's really cool. I like that a lot. And so it sounds like you interact a lot with your audience. And
I do.
So tell us about that. And what is their response to you?
Well, you know, thank God I haven't had any negative responses because, you know, in social media, anything's possible.
Sure.
But, you know, I try to keep it positive. And you know, like I said, most of my subscribers are from the Philippines. And, you know, I'm not trying to be biased, but, you know, it's a very positive culture, you know, very God-fearing, family-oriented. And, you know, they have their teenagers that like to have fun, you know, and turn up, and, you know, they love anime and games and music, just like everybody else. And so, you know, a lot of the following, I have different ages. You know, I took a look at my demographics, and there's some who are older, some that are younger. And, you know, they all come with different questions about the particular group that I'm reacting to. Or they're just like, wow, Nurz, I like your mask, or, you know, Nurz, your stabs are incredible, or, and some of them I actually learned from. You know, they teach me about things I don't know about the Philippines, the flooding situation, certain things about the food and the family culture, and I learned a lot actually from my followers, from my subscribers. So it's a give and take. I make sure that I answer all of the questions that I'm asked in my comment area. It's a very close relationship.
I love that. You know, I love that you are actually hands-on, and it's actually you on the computer, or, you know, phone, talking to your audience. You know, it's not just a bot or you know, an assistant or anything. That you actually keep in touch personally with your fan base. So that's really awesome.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, if people take the time to look at me and, you know, come into my world and allow me to come into theirs, the least I can do is respond to them.
Yes. Yeah, that makes a big difference. You know, I feel in today's world we have lost some sense of touch with people personally, or a lot of us is just mostly online, but but at least even a personal message can make a person feel special, especially if they're taking the time to invest in your content.
Absolutely. I appreciate that time, because you can be doing a lot of other things. It's like, you see this nurse there with a mask on, she's stabbing in the air with, all kinds of effects, I appreciate that they give me their time and their attention, and I try to bring them great reactions, about different artists. I cover a lot of SB19, all the 18 out there and all the caps. That's a group that follows SB19, and we're a little family ourselves, and we give and take from each other and learn from each other and grow and support. I cover other artists as well, Easy Mill, and there's just so many talents out there. I even delve into the Korean culture. I'm kind of like trying to blend in everywhere, but primarily my followers are from PH.
Very cool, very awesome. And a lot of our viewers for Pink Table Talk is from the Philippines. So hello to all my Filipino audience out there watching. I thank you and I love you for watching every week. Right now we're going to go to our first commercial break of the evening, but stay tuned for more Pink Table Talk with Nurz Rap.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories, from elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits. I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
Welcome back to Pink Table Talk. Tonight we're finishing up our talk with Nurz Rap. This is our two-part episode. So stay tuned all the way to the end, because we're going to have a live performance from Nurz Rap. So before we went on break, we talked about how you influence your audience globally. Especially you have a lot of fans in the Philippines and you love to connect with them personally. So I have a question for you. Tell me about those masks.
Well, the mask is, or was, just my touch of keeping a part of myself to myself. I feel everybody wears a mask when they go out into the world. You see what you see, but that's not always what you get. Sometimes it's used to prevent you from getting hurt or from people taking advantage of you. And, one thing about Nurz is I just wanted her to be able to represent that aspect of the person that's kind of left behind, that person that is behind the mask. And being that Nurz is actually two different artists, I don't know if you know that, but Nurz is actually also Double D, which is a totally different artist. And she's a little schizophrenic, if you will. And, the mask basically is just her trademark, and there's been a lot of positive response. People like the different types of masks, and I try to change it up every now and then, and it's just another aspect of fun that I have with the character Nurz Rap.
That's awesome. And I love the masks. I think they're really cool. You have some really cool and interesting ones. I went to a masquerade ball last Christmas, and so I got to have some fun dressing up with a mask. I think it's always fun. I love a good prop or a good theme, and so I definitely am into all your different masks.
Thank you.
And so is Nurz part of you, or is she separate? Tell us, who is Nurz?
Good question. Well, Nurz is a part of me, not the part that is a dark superhero. I don't go around hurting patients and, hurting, even criminals. They deserve justice. But, again, this is all fictitious. But, I will say Nurz is just a part of my imagination. Not so much a part of me. When I create the lyrics, with my producer for Nurz Rap material, it comes very easily. I don't know why. But, being that I like to write as well, whether, writing towards a book or a screenplay or what have you, I just love to write and I love to create and I have a pretty wild imagination. So everything just comes out and I just put myself into character. What would Nurz do? What would Nurz say? How would Nurz react? And what's different, what's unique, or what's very comfortable for people. And from there, Nurz just flows. We're expecting to record a second album that's a lot more updated and, trying to attack different areas as opposed to how Nurz will deal with some of the woes of society and the crimes. And it's going to be a pretty awesome album.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love this. This is like your super alter ego.
Yes. Well, yes. I mean, Double D is the reason why Nurz is actually two is when I first started, I was Double D.
Oh, okay.
When I met Ja Rule and a couple of others, Wyclef and the Fuji Camp, I was Double D at that time. And I don't want to let go of that because that's my heartstrings. That's my foundation. And Double D is very different than Nurz Rap. Nurz Rap is out there trying to get the criminals, whereas Double D is just the everyday Jersey girl, just enjoying just rapping and collaborating with other talented artists.
So kind of like Superman and Clark Kent.
I guess you could say that. From Jersey, the Jersey Clark Kent. Yeah, I can rock with that.
I like that. That's very cool. Very cool. And so with this alter ego, Nurz Rap, what is she fighting? Is she fighting for human rights, political? What is her basis? What is she doing?
Well, I really didn't delve into anything like political things like that. I'm not saying that can't happen because I can do a million albums and it can be a million topics, but primarily it's her patients that come in that have been abused or killed or harmed. So some of the main things that we see in society that are devastating that she focuses on. A lot of times, Nurz might not even focus on a particular person. It's just the energy, and bringing you into her world. Like for example, the Cold Blue album. Again, she takes you through like the check-in and then the triage and then the waiting room. You go in the OR, you're partying over here, then you're going over there, and this is Nurz where you get to meet nurses. So it's just a world that I can just create of my own. But absolutely, certain topics may come up that I can address.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you're kind of giving a voice to maybe people who feel they don't have a voice in this world.
Yes, absolutely. There's so many victims, in our society now. The elderly, the disabled. I mean, especially in nursing, we see it all the time, and we realize how blessed and fortunate we are on a regular, everyday basis. And so, Nurz sees that, Nurz knows that, and she can speak on a lot of those issues. But she's just angry. When you hear when I perform This Is Nurz, you'll see, why is Nurz so angry? What's going on with this woman? Just go ahead, take care of your patients, go home to your family, be a nice nurse. But hopefully after the song you get an idea about why is she so angry? What's going on with her?
Well, I think that's very relevant to today. I feel like a lot of people do have some anger, like I would say a righteous anger. I feel that there are a lot of things going on in this world today that are troubling for everybody. So I think that's why your content is so relatable. I feel that people, they don't have that outlet. They can't, speak up in their environment for whatever reasons. But I guess through you, they can feel like, oh yeah, she gets it. She understands.
Oh yeah, tell me your problems. I mean, as nurses, we, especially, ICU, med surge, telemetry, we talk. We get in that break room and man, we let it out.
Oh yeah.
Or when we go home to our significant others, they hear about it, because we're real people. It's like, we dealt with COVID and we deal with so many different things that we have lost our comrades in. We've seen a lot of patients literally leave this planet and have to deal with the sorrow and the aspects of pain and suffering. And so it's not hard for us to find what pain feels like or what misery feels like, you know. So there's a lot in this memory bank, you know, that I can relate to and not relate to, but you know, I definitely create the content to make it so everybody can just kind of have fun and see, you know, what's up with Nurz.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so you mentioned something about the prescription.
The Nurz prescription spot. Well,
yeah,
the Nurz prescription spot, you know, I mean, like you mentioned, everything is tying around nursing. You know, I try to keep a theme going because I'm a proud nurse. You know, I became a nurse because two of my brothers suffered from sickle cell anemia when I was a little girl, and so I saw them suffer, and I couldn't do anything. You know, my mom, you know, would be worried. My other brother would be worried. There was nothing that we could do. We felt helpless. And I decided that, you know what, I want to be a nurse because I might not be able to heal my brothers, but I can help other sickle cell patients. And that was like the main thrust of me becoming a nurse, actually. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I'm a nurse as well, and so that was how I started my career. And so I definitely get it. You know, like you said, we talk. You know, those break rooms are definitely, that is the spot to be, along with some lumpia and some good eats and good talking. But definitely, you know, you said a lot of things that were very relatable, very important. You know, nurses see a lot, and I can definitely, I've been there. You know, I've seen people at their worst. I've seen the scandals, you know, we see it all, you know, we see everything. And then I've also seen the miracles, you know, people who came in so ill, walking out of the hospital, you know. And so I think that it is a wonderful career and a blessing to be in that career, to be in those moments with people when they're most vulnerable. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think your music captures it in a fun way too.
I like to think it's a fun way. I mean, sometimes you can't take life too seriously, you know. I mean, it's like, take a break, especially nurses. You know, we get in there and we grind for years and years, and you know, it's like, just let go and have some fun, you know, sometimes, you know, and it's good for the soul, it's good for the spirit, and, you know, music is always good. Music is always good.
Yes. And so do you feel that this Nurz rap could become a comic book character? I like this theme of her, this vigilante nurse hero.
I'm just saying, everybody come on board, show her some love, you know? You know, I have a lot of ideas, you know. I thought of, like you said, like a cartoon, an anime. I even thought of making Nurz, you know, writing a play where the whole play would be laid out with Nurz. You know, there's a lot of different plays on Broadway, as you know, that, you know, like Phantom of the Opera, and there's some scary, you know, you had, what was the other one? With the plant, help me out.
It's one of Little Shop of Horrors.
That's it, Little Shop of Horrors. Shout out to Tisha Campbell, another person in East Orange that I know. Yeah, it's a situation where you have these plays, and you know, I thought of, you know, morphing Nurz into all these different situations. A TV show, it's like a movie. It's like, you know, nurses can be anything that they want to be, and that's really the premise. A nurse, anybody, you can be whatever you want to be. It's all up to you.
Yeah. I love that, you know, and I think that it's great that you're showing that nurses do have a creative side. You know, I feel like we as nurses, we love to do arts. We love arts and crafts, or we love to do, you know, dance. We love self-expression. And I think you found a really great form of that. And then you're also creating great inspiration for people, you know, and so it's really awesome, and I'm enjoying it.
I appreciate that. I hope, you know, through Nurz and other aspects of nurses, you know, to let nurses know, let everybody know, but especially nurses, that, like you said, you can be creative, you can do karate, or, you know, you can be a surfer, or it's like there's a world out there besides just nursing.
Yeah.
You know, be a painter, you know, get out there, because your kids will love it too, because you want them to be expressive.
Yeah.
So, you know, Nurz, a big part of Nurz too is, you know, showing and demonstrating that, I could be an ICU nurse, I can be in doctorate school, and I can still rock an album. Yeah, you could do it. Go ahead and do it. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, I love that. You know, like for myself, you know, I've danced. Y'all saw my performance earlier this year with the Rockets. I paint. You know, I love all kinds of expressions. I love to bake and cook too. So I think that that's definitely part of being a nurse. You know, we are people who are in tune with ourselves and with our emotions, and we love to have those outlets for that. So yes. That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's safe. Come out there. You know, I would love to, any nurses out there, or doctors. Actually, there's a doctor that I saw that is a big rap artist, and he did really, really well. I haven't seen him recently, but if there's any nurses who want to rap and get with the Nurz, come on, holla at your girl. Let's have some fun. That's
amazing. That's really great. And so with this, the nursing, do you do any advocacy for nurses as well?
Well, I haven't done that in any of my projects as of yet, but it's something that could be done. Another aspect of my content creating is called the Jersey Goat Spot. You know, being from Jersey, you know, like I mentioned, you have Bruce Springsteen, you got Shaq. I mean, so many. Jersey is just full of talent. You know, we're just like this big melting pot. Yes. And so what I wanted to do is have some of the goats of New Jersey motivate the young people. They can be nurses, but you know, sometimes young people just need to see, you know, not just see Shaq shooting, you know, those throws, or you know, God bless Whitney, or seeing, you know, Whitney on stage singing. You can be that Whitney, you know. You can be that Tisha Campbell. You can be that Latifah. You can be that rock star. And so the Jersey Goat Spot, you know, I have different people who I consider goats that come on, and I talk to them usually via Zoom, and we talk about, you know, their come up. You know, I have my niece come on. She's a restaurant owner. And I had, you know, she's like getting #1 rating, she and her husband, you know, for their barbecue spot in Jersey. You know, I interviewed her, and she talked about how, you know, you can own a restaurant, but you need to know how to cook too.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes your cook doesn't show up. So what you gonna do?
Yeah.
So, you know, I learned from her, and then I have a cousin who's a big time, you know, radio personality, show personality out in Tennessee. And he talked about, again, you know, knowing how to do things that you have people do. It can go on and on and on, but I might not address nurses directly, but I think indirectly anybody can get something from one of my platforms or you know, my music.
Yeah, I think so. I think you show a fun side of nursing and a heroic side of nursing in a very creative way. Well, we're going to go into our second break of the evening, but everybody stay tuned for more Pink Table Talk with Nurz Ray.
Join us for a captivating new series where Lawin sits down with the trailblazers of the music and entertainment world. Discover the stories behind the faces and voices that shape our culture and community.
We will bring you exclusive interviews with industry legends and rising stars. Behind the scenes insights, and get a peek into the creative processes and personal journeys. Artists and performers and their upcoming shows and events.
Stay tuned for more updates and sneak peeks. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel.
Don't miss out legal knowledge of legal treats with attorney Aileen every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time or Saturday 7:30 a.m. PHT. The most awaited Saturday show is coming back. Teacher Talk. Live Chickahaw with Ma'am Cora and Dr. Nurz. Launching soon. Shake, shimmy, and shine. Scarlett's got your dance workout covered. Tune in live every Sunday 7 p.m. CST or Monday 8 a.m. PHT for Swirl It with Scarlett.
Tripping off my badge, wicked like the curse. 911, what's your emergency? This is Nurz. Hang up now, I'll make your nightmares worse. Decapitation if I reach down in my purse. Emergency, this is Nurz. Hang up now, I'll make your nightmares worse. Decapitation if I reach down in my purse. Blood dripping off my badge, wicked like a curse. In the darkness, I can't shall appear. N-U-R-G illuminates the air. I was a friendly nurse, but as the world got worse, sagacious lives, but criminals got me first. This is falling on the weak, pedophile and murderers. I went against the grain, appear to be the same. My patient put my criminals, revenge became my pain. I'm a one, what's your emergency? This is Nurz. Hang up now, I'll make your nightmares worse. Decapitation if I reach out in my purse. Blood dripping off my back, wicked like a curse. You're a superhero, if you're evil, I will get you. Life is thankless, not a pretty picture. Work like a dog, vowing to help heal. Then it got real, and took the wheel. Low wages, long hours for a dollar. Zero honor, no respect, script the past. Then I lost my mind, patience came is mine. Oh my king, eliminate the evil car. I'm a one, what's your emergency? This is Nurz. Hang up now, I'll make your nightmares worse. Decapitation if I reach out in my purse. Blood dripping off my back, wicked like a curse. 911, what's your emergency? This is Nurz. Hang up now, I'll make your nightmares worse. Decapitation if I reach out in my purse. Blood dripping off my back, wicked like a curse.
For divorce and family law in Texas, Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC will guide you every step of the way.
From initial consultation to detailed review of your case and strategic planning.
We'll sit with you during negotiations or mediations, and represent you in court.
Whether it is a family law, estate planning, or immigration, we will be there to guide through the final steps.
So, leave your legal matters behind you and embrace your future.
You can contact Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC at 346-5454-346 or visit DizonLawFirm.com.
Filing taxes, dealing with tax debt, or facing IRS actions is stressful, but you don't have to go it alone. Call 832-674-0829 or visit www.taxresolutionesq.com.
Welcome back to Pink Table Talk. We just had an amazing performance by Nurz. Rap, that was awesome. Amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, what an awesome song. That
Thank
was
you.
so cool. So tell us, what is the inspiration behind that song?
Well, like you might have heard in the lyrics, it's a thing where Nurz is just tired, man. Nurz is done. It's like her pay is weak. She's working hard all day. You know, she's not getting that respect. And then you got people out here doing the wrong thing, hurting people.
Yeah.
And Nurz is like, enough. So it's like 911, you know, what's your emergency? This is Nurz. You know, it's a thing where she's like, it's time for me to make a difference. And if you're bad, she's gonna get you. Simple and plain. You sick, I'm gonna heal you. You bad, I'm gonna get you. It's like that.
I like that.
But it's a fun track. It's a fun track. I like the people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I think it's really cool and very relatable. You know, and I love it. You're like, she's tired, you know, and I think there's a lot of moments in our life where we feel we are tired, or even just in our career, not just only nurses, but I think everybody has moments where they've been fed up and tired, and you know, they want to do something about it.
Right. You know, you turn on the news, you know, social media, every other thing is, you know, it's the realities of the world. And sometimes you're yelling at the TV. Sometimes you know, you just get so angry and disappointed. And you know, Nurz can't take care of all of it, but she's definitely going to get hers in. She's going to get hers in.
Speaking of that, what impact do you hope your work, music has on nursing and your audience?
Well, I think just to know that it's okay to be creative. You know, all rap doesn't have to be about, you know, shooting and murdering and all those, some negative stuff on that level. You know, you can make a character out of any genre that you like and have fun with it. I think the main thing is that, you know, music is universal. You know, you can be a nurse, but you can also have fun. You can express yourself through music. And people in general, just to know that, you know, nurses are real too. You know, we're not robots where it's just, we just pass pills and give needles. It's a thing where, you know, we really do feel bad for our patients when they pass away, or a family who has to, you know, have a loved one depart. You know, nurse is just the everyday nurse that just had enough and taking things into her own hands, and it's just her world, and she's responding to what's going on in the universe.
That's awesome. Speaking to responding to what's going on in the universe, you mentioned starting to dive into Korean music. Have you seen K-pop Demon Hunters?
You know, someone mentioned that to me recently. I think one of my friends mentioned it, and I did hear about it. I haven't personally seen it, but I can just imagine. I'm hearing that it's really great material. And, you know, it is animated, I guess, to a great extent, and really look at the world of performance. And it's a very high-paced industry. You know, I cover quite a few K-pop artists, and I'm just blown away by their talent, their energy, and their determination to be taken seriously as artists. And some of their material, you come on to the Nurz prescription spot and check it out, and you can see me cover, you know, some K-pop music. So I can just imagine how the show is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and what advice would you give to any young and upcoming artist or nurse?
Ooh, two totally different worlds, but I would say they both require determination. Not giving up. You know, nursing school, oh man, nursing school was very eventful for me personally. And, you know, my mom was in my corner when I, you know, met a lot of unfortunate racism around the time I was in nursing school. I'm not showing my age or anything, but, you know, it was very different than now. I'm not saying that those things don't exist now, but, you know, I went through quite a bit during my journey, so much so I'm going to write a book about it, because I think a lot of people need to know what happened to me, and that I still became a nurse despite that. But as far as nursing students, you know, I say go for it. Dedication, we need great nurses out there, male, female, transgender. A nurse is a nurse is a nurse is a nurse, right? You know, you want somebody who is knowledgeable and caring, to take care of you and your loved ones in a time of need. And I would just say, you know, get your grit about you. It's not pretty all the time, but roll up your sleeves. You know, we welcome you into the profession. As far as young artists, you know, I would say, again, determination, but always have a backup. You know, when I wanted to become a rap artist, like, my friends, like, I want to be like Latifah Mom, or I want to be like Naughty and them, or Redman and Meth, you know, and her thing is, you need to get a degree to fall back on. And, you know, I was upset with her for a long time, but she was right. I'm so glad I listened to her, because, you know, certain things don't always come out the way you want it. So I would say to young people, you know, harvest your craft and surround yourself with like-minded artists, and definitely have a backup.
That's great advice. I think that's very good advice for the young people of today, or anybody maybe even starting over. You know, there's a lot of people who are choosing second career, or maybe they've always had a passion for music,
right?
You know, and so it's never too late to go for your passion.
It's true.
That's awesome. And so tell us more about your production projects. I know you've been writing, and you got some, movies, TV shows?
Yeah,
What's in the
it's
works?
all over the place. I keep both my left and right side of the brain busy, and it keeps me out of trouble. But, you know, yes, RamRodd Productions, you know, Rod after, you know, my family name, you know, me being a Taurus, not quite a Aries. I kind of use that Ram as a rhyme. It's really about, you know, moving forward in certain aspirations I have. You know, I want to write a book. You know, I'm working on some TV series material right now that I'm trying to do the screenplay for. You know, even the music, some of the music that I'll be doing for Double D will fall under RamRodd. It's just all the different things that I do. I just want to put it under an umbrella and be able to, you know, kind of put it in a neat pocket. So when I, release or do certain things, that it has a home base. But yeah, I'm working on a couple of screenplays now for TV series that are being considered. I won't name the company just yet. I'm just praying. But I am interested in writing a book, especially about the topic of racism in nursing school and what I experienced. And it's going to be called White Dandruff.
Wow, interesting. Wow, that's deep. These are some deep things. Wow, very awesome, but very relatable. I feel that these are issues and topics that people are interested in. And, as our world is evolving, we're becoming more and more aware of these societal issues. And so people are finally able to kind of face those things.
Yeah, I think a lot of people live in a bubble. It's like everybody takes so much on to themselves just to survive and succeed. I have a family to take care of, forget what I went through, or, I have this and that to do. It's all right, I'll be okay. But, we have feelings too.
Yeah.
And, sometimes when certain things happen to us, it comes out in our everyday personalities, low self-esteem, you get psychological issues, physiological, and psychosocial issues. So it's important. I hope that things that I do and bring to the table can inspire somebody, because I was inspired by so many people in my life.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you so much for coming onto the show. Where can people find your music and your production projects?
Okay. Well, I'll make sure that I include my link bio for you, but I'm on all the social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and YouTube. You can find, just put in Nurz Rap, NURZRAP, and you can find me pretty easily. As far as my music, you can go on YouTube, Apple Play. My stuff is out there. I just have to get out there and make some more noise. So thank you for having me, so Nurz and Double D can have a face. Thank you.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and thanks again. What a wonderful and amazing performance.
Thank you.
You guys definitely be sure to check her out. Check her on YouTube, Instagram. She's on all the socials. Definitely check her out. Listen to her music. Follow her work. She has a lot of really cool material out there, and I think that you all are going to enjoy it. Well, thanks again, guys, for watching Pink Table Talk. Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on Lawin Media Network. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Google. We're on all podcast platforms. So thank you again for watching us, and see you all next week. Have a good night.